So last week I did a video about the Apple Pencil and why I chose to go with the Apple Pencil and the iPad Pro over my Wacom Cintiq, and why I got rid of that and why I replaced my Wacom Cintiq with the Apple stuff in my workflow. A lot of the comments really had more to do with the iPad Pro itself rather than the Apple Pencil, which was more about what my review was. So I just wanted to go over a few of the questions people had about the iPad Pro and comparing that to the Wacom Cintiq. I covered in the last video a bit about why I'm using Astropad, and if you want to look at that, you can just watch the last video. I'll put the link right below here. Bravest Bullfighter was asking, how's the latency? As you can see, it's pretty darn good. Now I'll tell you, it's not always really good. I mean, if you're having a bad internet connection, it's not going to be so hot. If you're running a lot of stuff on your computer, it may not be so hot. Now what you're looking at right here, you see this little pink line, this little magenta line. That's actually a part of the Astropad program. That's not an iPad thing. That's an Astropad thing. And I really like that because it really makes up for any latency that is naturally in the program. That's naturally from the Apple Pencil and through the Wi-Fi and whatnot. Slime Crazy, one of the users on YouTube, was asking about how natural it feels to sketch on this thing. I assume what you mean by that is, does it feel like drawing on paper? And then how is it like drawing in different places? So a lot of folks were asking about, is this any good if you're not at your desk? And how close do you need to be to your desk for this to work? One of the guys was even asking if he could do it in a whole different floor of his workspace. Like if he could just go 2 stories below. Oops, here we go. He was wondering if he could go in a different level of the same building and still work on this. I took it outside and downstairs, but the Wi-Fi signal wasn't very reliable out there. It kept closing on me. So I had to go back up to the apartment. This is currently in beta, so there's going to be some things on here that aren't fully refined yet. Kevin Phillips really likes this, but he uses PC, and he was wanting to know if it works on there. Unfortunately, no, it doesn't work on PC. So Janine Lewis 43 commented on my last video, and she was asking what would be good for her daughter who's going to college to go to art school. Her daughter at the moment wants a Wacom Cintiq 13 HD, and her mom is thinking about getting this instead. So she was asking what my opinion is. So here's my opinion. Now, assuming she's got an Apple laptop, I think using the iPad Pro and connecting with Astropad or using one of the other apps, one of the awesome drawing apps that comes with it, or that you can get on it, I think that would be a much superior, much nicer way to go, because it's going to have a lot less hardware involved. It's going to be a lot lighter, it's a lot cleaner, and she's going to be able to be a lot more efficient. She'll be able to do a lot more things with one device than if she was to have a laptop and her full Wacom Cintiq setup that has to come with a harness to connect to your computer. You're going to have an adapter with that. It just gets to be a real mess. And so if I was a student, I wouldn't want that at all. I think she said she has a Mac, but let's assume for a second that she doesn't. Let's say she has a PC. This may or may not be the best option. Obviously, Astropad's not going to work if you've got a PC right now. So you might want to look at Surface Pro. But if she has a MacBook Air, MacBook Pro, I would say that it would be kind of a no-brainer to me to go with the iPad Pro, Apple Pencil, Astropad setup to use as an art student. I've seen a lot of other commenters and reviewers from like tech websites and things like that who have commented on how silly and stupid it is to have the Apple Pencil charge by sticking it in the Lightning port on the iPad Pro. And I'll admit, when I saw that at on the Apple keynote or whatever you call it, I thought that's an accident waiting to happen. Until I was sketching at a restaurant the other day. I was at like this pizza pub style place, and my Apple Pencil died while I was waiting for my pizza, while I was just like sketching on the couch there, and suddenly it clicked. I was like, that's why it's such a good idea. The iPad Pro has such a long battery life that you never know, and the Apple Pencil has a decent battery life as well, but it's long enough that you may not charge it every day. That you might have charged it the day before, your charge might run out, you might run out while you're not at home, and it's really nice not to have another charger hanging around, or to have to go sit near the nearest outlet and just be attached to that. I can't remember who it was, but we had a few people ask about palm rejection and how good that is. And it really, I've noticed, depends on the app that you're in. So when I'm in Astropad, which is the one that I've been using the most, let's see here. Let me get this out of the way. So it doesn't have any issues at all, even if I'm like sliding my hand along it. I mean, there's no sight of any issues with my hand interfering. So in this app, it actually asks you if you're using your finger or your stylus, and it'll change accordingly. So so now it'll still use your finger for so like it'll sense if you're using two fingers to change sizes. It'll still read if you're selecting one of the options here. But if you try and use one finger, it's not even going to do it if you try. If I go into Procreate, let's see here. Let's create a new image here. And if I use my hand, it'll do that. If I'm using this, and I'm dragging my hand along, a lot of times, it didn't right there. It's really not too bad. I'd say 90% of the time I don't have a problem. But there's a pretty good, like 10, maybe even 20% of the time that that my hand will leave a mark or something like that. So obviously the way things go, I can't make it work on the video. But almost every time I'm drawing on here, I'll see little scattered marks left over from my palm hitting the screen.